Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey. Today I'm going to guide you through a sequence that you might like to do if you are a beginner to your yoga practice, or if you're trying to work a little bit more on hamstring flexibility and on getting deeper into your forward bends. So of course, how deep you go into a forward bend has nothing to say about the quality or depth of your practice. Your practice is about how much you can really downregulate your nervous system, go inward, and be in a state of observation of yourself, of your breath, and then all of the benefits that come from that inward focused awareness. But part of the practice is that we are trying to stretch out the spine. If we can have a nice long spine, we're going to be able to breathe better, and we're just overall going to have more longevity. We'll live hopefully a longer life and be able to engage in this practice longer. So I'm going to be really focusing on the quality of the movements. I'm going to get into some more granular aspects of forward bends, and I'm also going to help you warm up your body to be able to get perhaps deeper into those forward bends. So with all of that said, you are going to need some props for today's class. There are some ways that you can swap these props out, but if you don't have exactly the props that I'm having, or if you don't have any of these props at all, just do your best to follow along and do what you can. Just really focus on the cues for your specific body. Okay, so first off, I have a blanket that I'm sitting on underneath the hips. This is going to help you with your pelvic tilt, which is going to play into your forward bends. Another prop that you might like to have is a strap. If you don't have a strap, you can use a scarf, you can use a towel, just really anything that lengthens your arms and gives you a little bit more space. The last thing is a couple of blocks. Again, not necessary. You could also stack some books on top of each other, or you could just get light on the fingertips in some of the postures that we're going to be doing. But if you have the blocks, they're handy, so bring them to your mat. With all of that said, we're going to go ahead and start grounding on our backs in constructive rest. So I'm coming off of the blanket, setting it off to the side, and rolling all the way down. And I did forget to say that as you come down to your back, let's have the strap nearby already, just so you don't have to go too far whenever it's time to use it. Okay, constructive rest pose. The feet are grounded, the knees are pointing skyward. Relax your head and your back onto your mat. And let's just take a few cleansing breaths here, in through the nose, out through your nose or your mouth. A couple more like that if it felt good. Just arriving at the beginning of your practice, setting your intention for being here, which can be as simple as being here, right? You showed up. That's all that matters. But if there is something that's unique to you in your situation, your circumstances, you can call that intention in now. Whenever you feel ready, let's grab the strap and we'll move into our first pose to start warming up our body. So we always start our practice with a little bit of mindful awareness, a moment of meditation almost, just to make sure that we're here with clarity, we're here with mindfulness. So we're going to start by pulling the right knee in Take that strap around the sole of the right foot and then extend your right leg straight up into the sky. And so everybody's different here. Whether or not you're a beginner, you might just have really tight hamstrings. And so you're going to allow for there to be a bend of the knee. You might be holding onto the strap a little bit lower. The foot might be a little bit further away from your body, right? But you want to find the appropriate edge. And so we're going to flex back through the right toes and then reach through the right heel. Again, the leg does not have to be straight. That's just what happens whenever I really reach through that right heel. And then use your hands on the strap to gently pull the leg closer in towards you. And so it really can be these micro movements, right? It does not have to be super strenuous. Your shoulders and your head are still relaxing down on the mat. If you have kind of that deeper bend in your knee, over time you might just experiment with taking the bend out. I really like to start any classes where we're going to be focusing on the hamstrings with this stretch because your back is straight, and that's really what we're looking for in all of our other forward bends and all of our other hamstring stretches. Take a couple more breaths here. Alrighty. Take the strap off of your right foot. You can just let the strap rest across the front of your body somewhere. And then we're going to work also on our hip flexor strength because this is also going to play a part in our forward bends. You're going to take your right heel out towards the right and then turn the right heel in towards the left. So you're internally and externally rotating that thigh bone, and you're going to keep moving your heel out and in kind of like this S or zigzag shape as you lower your right leg all the way down to your mat. So if this feels easy, slow it down. If this does not feel easy, stay with it. Eventually, your right heel will rest down onto your mat. From there, pull your left knee in towards you, open your left arm out beside you, and we'll take a reclined twist. Left leg crosses over the body. Left shoulder is still grounded to the mat. Take 2 or 3 breaths here. Next breath out, roll yourself to your back again. Left foot goes down to the mat and then slide your right foot in. And we're just going to do all of that on the other side. Just fixing my pants. Okay, left knee comes in. Take the strap around the sole of the left foot this time. Extend your left leg skyward. Remember, a slight bend of the knee is totally okay. Flex back through your left toes. Reach through your left heel. Shoulders and head are still resting on the mat, and your arms are just giving your leg a gentle pull, a steady pull. So not bouncing the strap, just steady over time, pulling the strap towards you, pulling your leg towards you. When you're flexing back through the toes, you're activating the muscles in the front of your leg, and that's also going to help you find more depth in your forward bends. Activating the front of your thigh, your quad muscle, is going to help you release the hamstrings. Last couple of breaths here. One more inhale. Exhale, keep the leg in the air, take the strap off of your foot, just let it rest across your body. And then this time we're going to take the left heel towards the left. This is internal rotation in the left thigh. And then you're going to take your right heel in. So this is external rotation in the left thigh. And then you're just going to swivel your heel in and out in this S shape as slow and mindfully as you can until eventually that left heel is resting onto the mat. And then you can pull your right knee in, right arm out beside you, guide your left leg over towards, right leg over towards the left. That makes more sense. Your supine twist. A few breaths here. One more breath in. Exhale, release, come back to center. You can move your strap out of the way. And then with your feet planted on your mat, heel toe your feet to the width of your mat. And we're going to, again, play with that internal, external rotation of the thighs. So on your next breath in, you're going to let both of your knees drop over to the right. On your exhale, you're going to let both of your knees drop over towards the left. Do this a couple more times. Breathe in, knees come up through center, take them over to the right. Exhale, come up through center, take it over towards the left. One more, each side. Inhale to come up through center. Heel toe the feet back in line with your glutes, back in line with your hips. And then from here, pull your knees in, and we're going to start to rock either up and down the length of your spine or side to side. If you're rocking up and down the length of your spine, like what I'm doing here, eventually you're going to let this motion land you in an upright seat. Ta-da! If you're choosing to go side to side, you're just going to let that motion roll you over onto one side, and then again, you'll come around and you'll meet us here in a comfortable upright seat. Sukhasana, right leg crossed in front of the left to start. And we're going to move through several rounds of seated cat and cow, and I'm turning this way so that you can see what's happening in my pelvis. So if you're using your blanket, you're going to slide it underneath your glutes. And you're going to find a nice tall spine to start here. Find a sense of neutral. So that might mean that your tailbone tucks down slightly, your navel draws back, your sternum, the front of your breastbone, is lifting up, shoulders relaxing down. And a lot of the times whenever we do this spinal undulation, we focus it on the area of the ribs, but today I want you to really feel the movement start from your pelvis. So on your next inhale, you're going to tilt your tailbone back. This is an anterior tilt of the pelvis. So that's going to cause, if your pelvis was like a bowl, and whenever we started the bowl was perfectly balanced, this is going to cause the bowl to tip forward. And then from there, you're going to lift the front of your ribs and your sternum up towards the ceiling. Maybe lift your chin straight up towards the ceiling. This is your seated cow pose. And then exhale, we're going to scoop the tailbone under. So again, pelvis is like a bowl. The bowl is going to tilt back. Posterior pelvic tilt, the pubic bone's pointing up. Round your spine, press the back of your ribs towards the wall behind you. Shoulder blades are spreading apart, chin towards your throat. Seated cow. And then we're just going to do a few more like that. Inhale, starting from the base of your spine, tailbone tilts back. Heart space lifts, ribs lift, chin lifts. Exhale, scoop the tailbone under, navel draws back, round your spine, spread the shoulder blades apart, chin to your throat. One more, inhale, tailbone tilts back, Belly goes forward, ribs go forward and up. Lift your head. Exhale, scoop your tailbone. Draw your navel back, press your ribs back, chin towards your throat. All right, inhale, roll back up to your neutral spine. From here, move your blanket out of the way, and we're going to do Navasana boat pose just for a few breaths to really feel the hip flexors switch on. Bring your feet out in front of you, hip width distance apart. Hands are going to come behind the thighs, and I want you to use that connection to start to lengthen up through your spine. Reach up through the crown of your head. Find that sensation of the danda, the staff, along your spine. Feel your sits bones grounded, and then draw your navel back towards you. Scoop your tailbone under just a tad. So just a little bit of that cat pose action. From here, you're going to start to lean back with that flat back. Bring the toes to your mat, lift the heels. And you're already in boat pose, so if this is really challenging for you, you are welcome to stay here. Keep breathing. If you want to explore a little bit of play, we're going to lift the right shin parallel to the mat, and then tap the right toes down. And then try the left shin, point through those toes, lift it parallel to the mat, and tap the left toes down again. Let's do one more on each side. You're really squeezing through the front of the hip crease, squeezing it in. Tap the toes down. Lift the left toes. Tap down. Again, you're welcome to stay here if this is really intense. Keep squeezing your thighs towards your ribs towards your thighs, or maybe you lift the shins parallel. Squeeze the inner thighs in. One more breath in. Exhale. Feet come down. From here, you can cross at the ankles, roll over your knees, or you can swing your legs over to one side. Yogi's choice, just come around into a tabletop pose. From table, we're going to prepare for downward dog. So downward dog is technically a point of neutrality in a lot of practices, but it is also kind of a forward bend, and we are stretching out the hamstrings and the back usually. And so we're going to really focus on the length in the spine today. So I want you to feel, again, the danda, the staff in your spine. So from the back of your head, feel your neck lengthening, reaching the crown of your head forward. Shoulders away from your neck, reach through your arms, spread the shoulder blades apart. Elbow creases can shine forward. Draw up through the low abdomen so that we're not dipping down in the belly here. We're flattening out the lower back. Feel that length in your spine. And then we're going to tuck all 10 toes under. Send the hips back towards the heels a little bit first, keeping the length in your spine. And then we're going to press through the feet. Lift the hips up and back without losing that length. So if you start to get here and then you feel the spine rounding, it feels like cat pose, and you're really dumping all of the weight into your hands and your wrists, put a deeper bend of the knees and really push yourself, push your booty back towards the wall behind you. Let your head be heavy. And breathe. I know this can be really intense if you're new to the practice. It's a big pose, but once you feel some posterity with this, I promise everything's going to feel a little bit easier. Reach through your heels, even if the knees are not straight. Relax your jaw. Lift up through your low abdomen. Scoop your tailbone down a little bit. One more breath in. Exhale, look forward, release your knees, come down. Feel that release. Great work. From here, grab your blocks, and if your knees are feeling sensitive, bring the blanket underneath your knees if you're using one. I have my hands on the blocks on their highest level, and my hands are going just slightly ahead of my shoulders. From here, step your right foot between your blocks, between your hands. The foot is still in line with the right hip point, And then you're going to send your hips forward and down for a brief low lunge. So because in forward bends, we're often strengthening the hip flexors, it can feel nice to stretch them out here, reaching through your arms, lift up through your heart space, reach up through the crown of your head. Drishti, your gaze is down past the tip of your nose. And then we'll stretch into our hamstrings again with a half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. You're going to press through that right heel and reach the hips back towards the back of your mat. Allow for a bend in the right knee as needed. And I like to have the blocks right up underneath my shoulders for ease. Reach through your arms. Pull your heart forward. I want you to think more so about cow pose here. So that backwards tilt of the pelvis. Reaching out through the crown of your head, pulling your heart through. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in. Exhale, roll through the front foot. Walk the blocks forward. And then we're just going to step the right knee back into our tabletop pose with the hands on the blocks. It might feel good to shift your hips kind of side to side or maybe take them around in circles. Definitely do what you need to here. When you feel ready, set yourself up for the other side. Left foot steps between the blocks. We're still hip width distance with the legs, but we're going to be reaching through the arms. Pull the heart forward and up, shoulders away from your neck. Enjoy this hip stretch. One more inhale here. Exhale, shift your hips back, flex back through the left toes. Walk your blocks back underneath you, Ardha Hanumanasana. Generous bend in that left knee. Pull your heart forward, tilt your tailbone back. Think cow pose in the spine. It's not going to actually cause you to have a back bend. It's just going to help you lengthen here. Couple more breaths. One more inhale. Exhale, walk the blocks forward, roll through your left foot. This time, instead of stepping back into our table, we're going to tuck the right toes, lift the back knee, and then take any amount of hops and steps with that right foot to make your way up into Uttanasana, your standing forward bend at the top of your mat. Let your upper body get heavy. Hands can stay on the blocks if the floor is feeling really far away. Head is heavy. Take a couple of breaths without any pressure to be doing things in the proper alignment or the proper activation. Just kind of let your back relax for a sec. Next inhale, we're going to press our hands into the blocks, straighten the arms, and flatten out the back. Ardha Uttanasana, our half forward fold or half lift. Now, with the arms straight, it's probably a little bit easier to have your knees bent, and that's normal, or to have a straight knees, But if you still have a little bend in the knees, it's okay. You can still do what we're about to do. We're going to keep the back as flat as we can, so I'm going to again invite you to some of this cow pose action in your spine. Tilt the tailbone back, reach out through the crown of your head, pull your heart through your arms, really long in the spine. You're going to try to keep this, and we're going to bend into the left knee, and then dump the weight into your right leg. And then switch sides. Next breath, bend into the right knee, let all of the weight spill into the left leg. Inhale, switching sides, left knee bends, right leg straightens, spill the weight over. Switching sides on the exhale. Let's do one more. These are called elephant walks. They're very effective. Make sure you're not gripping through your toes. And then after you've straightened that leg on the left side, straighten both of your legs. We're still in this half lift, so if you've kind of started to come down here and bend the elbows, straighten out the arms again, reach through the arms, reach through the crown of your head. You're kind of in this like figure 7 shape. And I want us to focus a little bit on what the legs are doing. So I want you to lift all of the toes, feel the front of your thighs activate, baby bend in those knees. Even if you can have the legs straight, we're not locking out the knees. And then press your heels away from each other. Feel your inner thighs rotating inwards. Lift your sits bones up. Draw up through the low abdomen. Now keep all of that activation that we just practiced and lower down any amount. Let your head be heavy. This is the proper activation for any forward fold that you're doing. Quads are active, internal rotation of your thighs, lifting up through the sits bones, navel drawing in and up, Uddiyana Bandha. One more breath here. Exhale, let some of the work go, let yourself relax. Move your blocks out of the way. Bend your knees enough that you can plant your palms, and we're going to step 1 foot back at a time into downward dog, and we're going to try that activation in downward dog as well. So head is heavy. Reach through your arms, straight spine. So remember, if you need to bend your knees here, you can, but we're all going to practice moving the heels away from each other, reaching through your heels to the point that it feels like you could lift your toes away from the mat. So if you have a deep bend in the knees, that's probably not going to feel super possible, but we're just pretending, right? We're just feeling the muscles in the front of the legs lifting up. Quads are active, internal rotation in your thighs, lift up through the low abdomen. One more breath in. On your exhale, look forward, shift forward, lower all the way down onto your knees. Whew, wonderful work. From here, swing your legs around. Let's come back through a comfortable seat. And we'll practice one seated forward fold. So here is where I recommend having your blanket. You can fold it up once or twice, however many times you need to have the proper lift. And we're going to start with Dandasana. Dandasana is the seed for all of your seated yoga postures. So just like we were practicing in downward dog and that half lift, this is kind of the same shape that the body is in. It's in that L or V or A kind of shape. We have just kind of this 90-degree effort going on. And so allow for a bend of the knees if it feels like you're rolling back really far here. Tilt the tailbone back. Ground down through your sits bones. So that's kind of a funny play. Something's gonna have to give. There's gonna have to be like a negotiation of tilting the pelvis back, but still feeling the sits bones grounding down, right? If the legs can straighten, great. Internally rotate your thighs. Really pull back through the pinky side of your toes. Arms resting down beside you, not pressing into your hands. Lift up through the front of your sternum. Reach up through the crown of your head. Dandasana. And this might be where your stopping point is today, and that's okay. If you can, just like in downward dog, find a certain level of posterity in Dandasana, a certain level of posterity in downward dog, it's going to make the rest of the poses you do, once you find that comfortability and that familiarity, a lot easier. So try not to rush forward. But if this is feeling like it's good, you feel strong, you want to take it a little bit further, then we're going to inhale, take the arms forward and up. Find this length. Imagine that you have a beach ball between your hands, and you're going to keep lifting that beach ball up as you lean forward, like you're trying to take it over your feet. So that might mean that you stop here. And that's okay. Whenever you stop here, lift up through the low abdomen, internally rotate the thighs, and hands rest on the tops of your shins or maybe to the outsides of the legs. And you're just really working that length in your spine. If you can go a little bit further, letting the belly rest on the thighs, you can do this. If you can hold on to your feet, you can use that connection to pull your heart forward. Keep lifting through the crown of your head so we're not here. If you need to take a look at the video, we're not doing this. Tailbone tilts back, rib cage and heart pulls forward. Reach out through the crown of your head. Lots of length. 2 more breaths, you got it. Smile. All right, exhale, walk your hands back. Slowly come back up to Dandasana. And from here, we're gonna lay back down on the back. We've done a lot of good work today. We're going to practice a couple of variations of bridge so that we're strengthening our hamstrings and strengthening our glutes at the same time that we are lengthening them out. We'll do a couple more twists and then we'll take Shavasana. Sound good? Alrighty. Feet are hip width distance apart. Arms down beside you, knees pointing up towards the sky. Tuck your chin towards your throat a little bit. Tilt your tailbone down. Press into your arms. Feel your rib cage lift away from the mat. You're already in this almost cow-like shape in your spine. Navel to spine. Take a breath in. Exhale, press into your feet. Lift your hips up any amount into your bridge pose. And we're going to take 3 to 4 breaths here. Hopefully this feels nice after all of that forward bending that we've been practicing. Every inhale, think about lifting your sternum towards your chin. Every exhale, think about pressing through your feet and kind of dragging your heels back towards you. You're going to really feel your glutes and your hamstrings activate that way. One more breath in this variation. And then exhale with control, slowly, slowly lower all the way back down to a flat back. Feel that release. One more bridge variation before we move into our twist and then close things up. We're going to walk the feet out so that the heels are grounded, the toes are pointing up towards the sky, feet are still hip width distance apart, and there's a baby bend in your knees. So maybe like 120-degree bend, right? From here, elbows are coming in close towards the ribs, and you're going to take your fingers pointing towards the sky so you have a bend of the elbows. Lengthen down through your tailbone, so kind of think more so about cat pose in the pelvis, that posterior tilt. Press the back of your ribs into the mat. Your whole back is flat. On your next inhale, you're going to press down through your upper arms and you're going to press into your heels at the same time, dragging them towards you to lift your hips away from the mat for just a little bit, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches. Keep breathing. Keep flexing back through the toes. Keep dragging the heels in. On your next exhale, set your hips down and let your legs relax. Let your whole body relax, really. That's a lot of work. So it's just as important to strengthen your hamstrings as it is to stretch them out. From here, we're going to reach that right leg long, pull the left knee in, open the left arm out beside you, and it's just taking another twist, just like the one that we started with. Stretching out the back. One more breath in. Exhale, roll through center. Just switch out the legs. Right knee comes in, left leg goes long. Right arm beside you, twisting towards the left. One more breath in. And exhale, back through center. Just notice if there's anything else that your body is asking for today, any other movements or postures. Give yourself permission to give that to yourself, and then whenever you feel complete, set yourself up in your Shavasana, your final resting pose. Arms and legs extended, resting down on the mat. Soften through the muscles in your face, soften your jaw. Let go of any resistance to gravity. You'll hear my voice when it's time to come back into this space. Enjoy your rest. Remaining just as you are, start to bring your awareness back to your breath. Feel the support beneath you and feel the space around you. Begin to wake your body up with small, gentle movements as you're ready. Maybe they turn into a big full body stretch eventually. Maybe you yawn, let everything go. In your own time, pull your knees in, give yourself a big hug, rock a little bit side to side, and allow for that rocking motion to land you onto your right side. And then from there, make your way up. Come up to a seat. Sitting up nice and tall, relaxing your shoulders down, softening your gaze. And just take a moment to acknowledge the space that you created in your body. Notice the impact of your practice on your mind, your emotions, your quality of awareness. Feel gratitude for yourself for showing up for this practice and for this practice and its lineage. With this gratitude in our hearts, bring palms together in front of the heart space, Anjali Mudra. We'll close by taking a deep breath in, exhaling to chant Om. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice focused on lengthening the hamstrings and getting deeper into forward bends. Please let me know how this practice has felt for you and if you have any other questions about improving your forward bends. And again, remember that it doesn't matter how deep you go. It doesn't matter if you can touch your toes. If you're showing up for practice and you're focusing on the quality of your awareness and your breath, then you're doing it right. Okay, with all that said, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I put out new classes every Sunday and sometimes a special one in between just because. So until then, I hope we practice together again very soon. Namaste.